Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro. It's Friday morning, 21st of February, 1999, 2020. What's going on? What's going on already? We're here again with episode 54 of Hands on SAP Dev. We've got a new camera and I've got a microphone in that camera. Long story about the microphone. I'll tell you about that later, maybe. So I hope it's okay. I hope you can see me and hear me fine. The camera should be a higher quality. It's also sort of maybe wider as well. It's the Logitech C920, which gives me a 1080p video, which is quite good. And it's got a little microphone on either side. I'm pointing over there because that's where the Blue Yeti microphone, external microphone, on its arm was, but basically it failed. The mini USB connector has become loose, and I tried to fix it yesterday, took it all apart, but failed. So yeah, I'm not very happy with that. But I've got this as an emergency measure, ordered it from Amazon on Wednesday, came yesterday, really good. Thank you, Andrew, thanks for confirming. And yeah, I think, in the sort of minimalism sense, spirit, this is working well and I quite like it, so I might stick with this if it works well. So yeah, so welcome. So who have we got? Helmut, good morning to Germany. Robert Dino, good morning. Andrew, good evening. Now let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Jorge, good morning. I hope you got the stickers okay. I think you did, didn't you? Fantastic. You can already, yeah, Helmut, you could already hear me drinking my coffee. Now, that's because with the Blue Yeti, I had a physical sort of mute button on it, and I muted it while I was waiting in the sort of standby, and then I turned it on when I was ready. But I didn't want to fiddle around with the light stream settings to sort of turn the audio off and then turn it on again, send it to live, just in case it didn't work. So you could hear, wow, I was trying to drink it really, really quietly, and I was thinking, oh, I need to clear my throat, but I didn't want to do it because I knew I was on live. So there we go. So Volker, Morgan, Pierre, bonjour, Andrew, oh, thank you, Manuel, thank you for joining as well, and good morning, Jorge. Yes, oh, thank you very much. That's good to know. Good to know. Great. So yeah, it is a bit of a holiday episode today because I'm on holiday today and we've got a long weekend, Michelle and I, today and Monday off. But I thought I wanted to do one anyway, just to keep the regular schedule up. So there we go. So where are we? Let me just switch to Lightstream and switch to the main scene because there's a few things I want to share actually. The first thing I want to share is a really fantastic announcement. I know that a lot of folks have been working on this in the background, so well done to them. The announcement of SAP Inside Track Online. So normally it's SAP Inside Track and then a location, but the location is Earth. The location is World. There's an Inside Track Online Twitter handle. But basically, go here to find out. Let me just paste that in there. Where's my chat? What's going on? We go and have a look. This has been worked on by many people, including Ronnie and Anne, Katan there, and Nabhit and Srikanth, and of course Jacob, who wrote this blog post. So yeah, really interesting concept. I mean, it's something that has been, I think, bubbling under the surface in many people's minds for a while. But so total hats off to this bunch of people for getting it off the ground and getting the initiative to do it. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So I think there's a link to a form to submit your proposal. It's a bit odd there, a bit of a white space oddness there, but anyway, submit your talk proposal. I'll be doing that probably this weekend. Submit a proposal. So do the same as well. It's a 24-hour event as well, so which is pretty cool because it covers the Earth. There we go. So that's that. I've got a piece of paper down here because of all sorts of things I want to show and mention. good morning, Srikanth. You just mentioned your name actually on this awesome announcement about SAP Inside Track Online. So that's, oh, I like the world thing. That's really cool. The Earth. That's really cool. I didn't notice that until now. Really good. Okay, so that's that. What's the next? Oh yes, just go down here. Yeah, I just noticed from York there was Inside Track Brisbane. Talking of Inside Tracks, I just saw a tweet this morning, just after I came back from my short run, and looks like he gave a session at Inside Track Brisbane. That was just a few days ago, wasn't it? Was that this weekend? Sounded like an awesome Inside Track. I think, Andrew, you were there and you gave a session as well, right, Andrew? Shevos. That was Ronnie's art. Well done, Ronnie. Thank you, Srikanth. So yeah, and he's Yoga's just posted a GitHub repo with all the bits and pieces that he showed on his session. So really cool. So it covers fat arrow syntax and promise and await and so on. Yeah, so really cool. I'm a big fan, of course, as you know, of all things functional programming in JavaScript. So more power to Jorg on this. So have a look at that and see what you think. What else is there? Well, yesterday Max had a live stream, which is really cool. I'll just put a link to his YouTube channel. He's got this playlist now of all his adventures in SAP Cloud Platform Java on this one. So that was really cool yesterday. So go there and subscribe. And in fact, there's one thing that I wanted to show you now that was related to something that I mentioned or was thinking of while I was online, with the rest of the folks watching Max. Oh, you were at SAP Inside Track Melbourne. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, yes. That was also awesome. I looked at that from afar. Hey, Gregors, good morning to you. Good morning, good day. During that session, I saw Max trying to type in some JSON because he was using curl to send some data in a post request, in an OData insert or create operation to a CAP-based OData service. And I was thinking, yeah, I get a lot of grief with my fingers when I'm trying to type JSON. JSON is very easy to read, but it's actually harder than you think to type because there's lots of, you've got to make sure that all the tokens are in double quotes and so on. And do I put double quotes around the numeric values or not? And remember the commas and the colon and all that stuff. And I remember thinking, I've been, well, not drowning is quite negative. I've been drowning in sort of YAML recently. I've been doing a lot of stuff with Ansible in my quest to learn more about sort of automated DevOps and Kubernetes and so on. And, those Ansible playbooks are YAML, but of course, closer to home is, of course, Cloud Foundry and the multi-target application concept. And of course, the multi-target applications are defined in YAML. So anyway, I've been thinking YAML quite a lot, and I'm going to just minimize this. In fact, minimize this Twitter thing because it's sort of distracting me a little bit. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to be able to sort of, on the command line, write YAML instead of JSON when I was, sending some data to curl, and I just played around with that, and it's quite cool. But before we do that, in order to get a little service up to post against, I was also messing around with, last week, and this will come up in a minute. Good morning, Peter. Last week we were messing around with the NPM package repository provided by GitHub, and I'll come to that shortly. I've been conversing with Andrew in the background. Thank you, Andrew, for that. That's awesome. But also NPM has a registry for Docker containers, and that got me on thinking about Docker again and containers. Anyway, I thought it'd be really useful for myself to have I suddenly want this bookshop CAP Node.js bookshop OData service. I want to run it now. I don't want to sort of set up a new CDS in it. I don't want to bang, set that up and, run something. So I've created my first, where are we? My first, or second entry on Docker. This is experimental. I'll probably remove this, but this is experimental. So I created basically a Dockerized, containerized bookshop service. And it's the simple bookshop service that we use in the CAP Node.js code jam for now. But I think, between us, we can come to a consensus as to maybe what we want in a, super quickly runnable container. So let me just show you, and then I'll do that now, and then I can use that for my demonstration of this YAML thing. So let me just bring that up here. Episode 54. So Docker image list. So I've already got a few things. I've been using this this sort of Docker TUI, terminal user interface, and I've got the SAP Cloud Connector actually as well. Docker PS. I've got the strange noise outside. The Cloud Connector running in a Docker container, and that's thanks originally to Nabi Zamani. I used that on the workflow code jam. So I will now Docker run, because this is the beautiful thing. I don't have anything. I'll just do a Docker run. I don't want to remove it when it's finished. I want to run it in the background as well. In fact, before we do that, let's start. What have I got listening on this machine at the moment? I've got basically SSH, and I've got the Cloud Connector, and I don't know what that is, but anyway, that's not anything to do with us. Just to show you that we've got nothing up our sleeve or anything, Docker run, remove after detach, and also expose the port on the 4004 Q macro. What's it called? Q macro bookshop Docker, and I've tagged it with 1, because why not? So let me just see what happens. Okay, so I've deliberately not sort of got it locally, and it's built upon, in fact, if I just go into here, cd local projects, work, is it in there? I can't remember. Bookshop Docker, yes. It's based upon Node 12, the Node 12 base image. And that's all it is, right? And in fact, just out of interest, I've pushed that as well to qmacro git.com qmacro, what's it called again? Bookshop Docker. There. So you can see that in there. There's the Docker file that we just looked at. So have a look at that and see. So anyway, that's that. Let me just bring that down again. Oh, question. Good morning, Phil. Good evening as well to you. And Amit, good morning, good afternoon. Are you thinking to provide also an ARM image? Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still a beginner on Docker. I'm still a beginner on everything. But yeah, I think that's really nice. I would, once we get, what I'm also wanting to do, Gregor, is reduce the size of this particular image because it's quite large. But again, like I say, I'm still a beginner in Docker. But I want to base it probably on Node Alpine rather than what it is right now, which is Node 12, which is, I think it's a Debian-based or an Ubuntu-based system, which is quite large. So we'll get it really as small as possible and then start compiling it also for these different architectures. Yeah, it's a default CAP installation inside the container. So have a look at the GitHub repo. It's just an idea, right? But I think it's, for me, it really appeals as in, oh, right, bang, I just want to demonstrate something with OData, with CAP. Bang, okay, I've got something running. Right, let's go. Rather than mess around with starting something out. So have a look at that and see what you think. Anyway, that's that. So let's go back here. Now it's downloaded, it's pulled, and it's running. Okay, so if Docker PS, you can see now qmacro bookshop Docker. So there we go. In fact, rather than, let's just go there. Localhost 4004. There we go. It's being served. There's the authors and the books There's no orders entity exposed yet. I just want to do the basic thing, but once we between ourselves decide what we want to do as a really basic thing, maybe just authors, books, and orders, then we'll sort of reconfigure that and build it again. Exactly, Julian. That's fantastic suggestion. In fact, it's what I just mentioned as well. Node Alpine is something I suddenly learned about this week, and yeah, you're right. It is much smaller. And thank you for that. I'm by no means a Docker container expert here, so all the help I can get, I'm grateful for. Definitely. So yeah, that's something. Anyway, I've got this now. I've got this Docker container running that's running the CAP bookshop. So what I wanted to show you was, if I say, for example, well, let's see what books we've got. Curl local host 4004 catalog books. Let's just paste it into JQ. I'm doing it here so we can just stay with the terminal, right? So we've got those books there. We got 3 books from Douglas Adams, of course, there. Yes, so yeah, exactly, Gregor. So that's a really good point, and in fact, we can dig into that a little bit more. I know that also Marius was looking at that sort of approach for the MTA modules as well, leaving out the node module. So when you build it, when you run it, anyway, yeah, definitely. So whatever works is a good thing. Yes, we could install and run them at start time. I don't know how to do that yet, but that's definitely these are really good ideas. So we got 3 books: 421, 422, and 427 from Douglas Adams. So let's add another book. So if we add another book, we'd say curl -d, and then this hit now starts the hard bit, right? So book ID in quotes 430, for example, and then title. Oh no, let's see, title. I'm not doing this on purpose either. Title, is it title? Title, so long and thanks for all the fish. That's it. So, okay, this is, a bit of a silly example because it's quite easy to type just 2 properties with 2 values for those properties. But, once it gets a little bit more complex with more properties, then you get into, a few sort of typing difficulties. But let's just post this one anyway. By default, I think curl will send the post method when you send data, but we need to also say content type application JSON, and we'll send it to local host 4004 catalog. We'll send it to the books entity set. There we go. So now if we have a look at the books, we got it there. So long and thanks for all fish. I forgot to put the stock and I forgot to put the author, but it doesn't matter. So instead of doing that, there's also, and as you know, there's also this JQ command. Just like JQ, there's also YQ, which will sort of parse YAML and pretty print it, but you can also convert YAML into JSON. So if we, for example, where are we? Episode 54. If we say, where are we? List local projects, workflow. I've got some workflow stuff to show you next time as well. Workflow tile, mca.yaml. Oh, there we go there. So if I say YQ, YAML Q to JSON, read, there we go. We've converted that MTA that's in there to JSON. Really nice. And there is a very, very similar sort of structure once you start staring at it long enough. So we can say now, we can use that power to say, instead of this here, let's just get rid of all that stuff. In fact, let's get rid of the whole of that thing. We can say, what do we want to do? We want to, oh yes, we will, I think, use a command substitution, YQ -J read there. I think that's what we want to do. And then we can start typing, because we've said basically read from standard in with that final dash there, we can say ID 440, title, another book by Douglas Noel Adams, stock 42, control D. Ah, okay. Ooh. Maybe we need to do that. 1 second. D at. What was it again? Title, book, title, ID. Let's just do that for now. 440. What was it? Tract. Oh, there we go. It's almost right. But anyway, okay. I'm not going to go into many details. I don't want to waste too much time on this because I want to get into the real meat. So yeah, okay. I'm annoying. I can't remember what I did there. I did a little screencast of it somewhere. But anyway, that's that. Oh yes. So in order to continue, there's one more thing I want to do, which is to show. Hey, Christian, allow. Is it Carnival over there already? Oh my goodness. Docker image. Okay, there's some good conversation about Docker image there. That's fantastic. I'm having a Docker image that CDS installed global, and I have a separate image for the app itself. Ooh. Oh, a base image. Yes. So Gregor, I think, are you talking about having a base image, which is cap but with no application, and then when you wanted to do an application, you'd say from cap base image blah 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 blah. I think that's what you mean, isn't it? Yeah, a base image would be really cool. Hey Max, hola. Yeah, so I was just showing, failing to show, what was it? History, grep, YQ, oh, there we go. YQ read, why didn't that work then? That's what I did, isn't it? Application JSON, catalog books, oh, hold on. D there, that's it. Command substitution, YQ, oh, read, there we go. Book ID 77, title. There we go. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong there. Yes, I did. I put R instead of read. Okay, so what we're doing there is command substitution. Okay, saying the result of running the following thing pass into as a value into the D switch. So read from standard in, read this YAML and convert it to JSON. Bang! And so we can start typing all these sort of YAML-based things, and of course you can have structure as well, introduced with the dash in YAML and arrays and things. Really nice. Okay, Gregor, that's okay. That sounds a nice idea. Yeah, definitely. I do think there is a demand, at least here, for the quick bookshop thing, because it's really useful to demonstrate things on the fly. Okay, so talking of demonstrating things, one more thing before we just start having a look at the. God, there's so much stuff to show. I hope this is okay. So much stuff to show. So, oh yes. So Andrew and I were sort of following on from last week's episode, and I'd created. Let me go back up here. I'd created this. Where are we? HandsOnSAPDev. What are it called? Q macro HOSD. We created this repo yesterday, last week, together, and we published that as a package. Okay, this is the thing that shows the HandsOnSAPDev episodes. This particular thing is like the static JavaScript object version of the API, let's call it, and we published a package. Okay. For anybody to consume. It turns out, and I've been digging into this, and Andrew helped me a lot here, that even to consume a package, a public package in a public repo on the GitHub package registry, you need to be authenticated. So this is what you need to do. Basically, there's the HOSD thing, and it tells us here, for example, we can say npm install qmacro HOSD, for example, right? So let's just do that really quickly. And in fact, what I wanted to do, yeah, there we go. What I wanted to do was to go to somewhere where I hadn't installed it, and what better place than the Google Cloud Shell? Always useful for a nice little environment. I've got npm installed already, which is cool, and I've also I think I've used npm here before. So there we go. I've got npm-rc. I've used cat before, so that's fine. So what we'll do is we'll go into npm. Sorry, let's do the same directory. So make the consumer cd consumer and npm init -y. So we'll initialize a repo, and then we'll say, for example, npm install at qmacro HOSD. Okay, that's what we're told to use. We can put the version in the tag, but we don't need to. But first of all, it'll say, well, I haven't got that in the npm registry, but it's the wrong registry, as you can see. So we can say npm set config set qmacro registry to be npm package registry.github.com. Okay, then I can try that again. But now, and this is what Andrew was, helping me out testing last week, or Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was. You need to authenticate, and it's like, why do you need to authenticate? Is that something I've done wrong, or whatever? But no, it's a thing. Currently with GitHub right now, you need to authenticate even with public repos. So npm login registry equals npm.package github.com. Is that how you do it? qmacro, and then what we need to do is to go to GitHub tokens, and generate a token. I'll generate a token right now and delete it again straight after. All we want to do is we want the repo. You need the repo scope. You need all the children of the repo scope and the read packages thing. What do we say here? Package consume. And I'll just move that down there a second so I can just generate that token without you seeing it. Generate token, copy that, okay, and refresh. And as you can see now, I've got it there, package consume. So now I've got it in my buffer, hopefully still. Now I can say password, paste. No, that one. Okay, I'm now logged in, and that will give me that entry in the npm-rc that we saw last week as well. So hopefully now that should allow us to install it. There we go. And so we can actually use it now. No, consume it. X equals require qmacro HOSD. And there we go. So that's cool. So that's what you need to do if you want to sort of consume a package that you've actually published on the GitHub npm repo. Oh my goodness. Right. So let's move on. It's 8:28. I wanted to get to the main topic of today before the half hour's up. I hope we're not going too fast here. There's a lot to cover. I'm just looking at my list here. Oh, there was another thing as well, but I think maybe I'll leave that to another time. It was basically how I have adjusted my little watch command to watch the. I'll show you here actually. No, I won't show you because I'm going to get into it again. I know what I'm like. I get digressed. You would rather make YAML not even more prominent. Well, yes, but I mean it's there. I think you've got to sort of what's the phrase? Take the bull by the horns. You've got to embrace it because YAML is ugly, but in a different way to how JSON is ugly. And I think we've got to deal with them both as developers in this space. Julian, that's a good question. I am happy with the GitHub packages. I'm happy with the concept. I'm happy that they're doing it. I'm slightly not understanding why they're making it a requirement to authenticate if you want to consume somebody's public published package. I don't quite understand that. And I hope that is not something that will sort of kill this whole idea. But I do love the idea of multiple package registries. Okay, so that's that. So where were we last week? Last week we had this. Get rid of that now. Delete. Yeah, we had this project, HandsOnSAPDev, and am I still bringing that to contain Docker PS? It's still running. So let's say Docker stop. 0063, and it should disappear because I did the --rm, shouldn't we? Removal in progress. There we go. Ooh, that was quite cool. Removal in progress. That's a good status. I'm only getting rid of that so I can run another thing on 4004. I could run it on a separate port, of course, but it'll just be confusing to me. So if I go into, where are we here? We go into here and say npm start. What have we got? We've got local. There we go. There's localhost, and that should change now. There we go. There's how weird is that? We've got now our episodes, and no, I don't think I've actually configured it. I've just copied that over actually. HandsOnSAPDev episodes. What have we got here? Let's just start again. CDS deploy. Actually, let's have a look what we've got. Services. Oh, episodes. Yes, that's it. Episodes and episodes in there. That's right. Yes. So we had a single entity. Really, really simple. And the topics is just a string. A comma-separated list of words in a single thing, and that's what they look like there. I created that. That's right. I created that from that spreadsheet on Google Docs. I almost said Excel spreadsheet. What is going on with me? So let's say CDS deploy to SQLite data.db and npm start. And now let's bring that up again. There we go. Okay, that's it. Right. I haven't set it up properly. So right now, and this is something that, I don't really know where I'm going with this particular part of it, and I definitely want your input here, your thoughts, because I think it's important, and I'll tell you why I think it's important shortly. I mean, of course, it's always important to get your thoughts. I mean, I think it's important to think more deeply about OData and the way we do things. So we've got here a list of episodes. Episode 0, episode 1, episode 2. We've got the episode title just for now. We haven't got anything else apart from topics, comma-separated things. So we could say, and I think we did this last week, right? $filter equals contains topics Node.js. Let's do that. Oh, is it the other way around? I can't remember. Node.js topics. I can't remember how to do it. Hold on a second. OData filter contains. Oh, there we go. Filter equals contains. It was right. Categories. That was right, isn't it? If that's right, if that works, yeah. Okay, cool. So what am I doing wrong there? Filter episodes. Let's just check again. What am I doing wrong, folks? Well, one thing I'm doing wrong is I'm going too fast. $filter equals contains topics Node.js. What did I do before? What was that before then? Maybe I didn't do the dollar episode. $filter contains topics. Surely it wasn't that space there. Surely not. Wow, okay. So there's no spaces allowed. My goodness me, that's very strict, isn't it? Okay. And I quite like that, so let's say we wanted to say, well, show me, filter down. I want to find the episodes where we talked about Node.js and debugging, for example. So we could then add another one and contains topics debugging. Okay, so that's quite nice, right? Thank you, Srikanth. Yes, it's a space. Who knew? Well, I did probably, and again, I'm thinking too fast or thinking too slow to realize. Thank you, Srikanth. You're on it. I know that, of course, these from experience yesterday, these messages from you come to me after I've realized what it is, but I do appreciate you got it obviously before me. So I think that's quite a nice way of managing the topics, because it's just easy, just type them into a single string, right? But there's another part of me that, with, not that I have such a hat, but with my database normalized hat on, one of those caps with normalized on the front. It doesn't, oh, there's Riley Rainey. Hello, Riley. Welcome, Riley. This doesn't feel quite right. So what I want to do is just start looking into how we might separate out the topics from the episodes as two separate entities. So topics is a first-class citizen, as it were, in our model. So let's explore that and see what we have to do. Right, this is what I wanted to look at here. So let's just go in here and start editing. We've got our CSV here, so we'll have to change that a little bit. So ideally, what we want is another entity, first of all, topics. And that topic, we don't really need an ID for that, or a numeric ID. I think we just have the topic name, right? So key name, it's going to be a string, right? That's effectively it, right? So we've got the episodes as a separate thing, and we've got the topics as a separate thing, a separate entity. No spaces allowed. Brilliant. That's such a good idea, Robert. No spaces allowed is a good text for your next t-shirt print. Yes, in fact, I've got one queued up before that, which is that one from the creator of the Corn shell, David Corn, which is go away or I will replace you with a very small shell script or something like that. And make them localized. Yes. What, localized t-shirts, Volker? Localized. I did have another idea with meta as well. I quite like meta. Anyway, Robert, yes, too many t-shirts. I've got too many t-shirts already. So, oh, make the strings localized. Yes, make them localized. Exactly. Let's do that as a separate step. But yeah, let's just concentrate on. I can only concentrate on one thing. Now, it turns out, as we saw last week, that A, CAP supports managed associations. B, we as developers should ideally be using managed associations rather than trying to build those associations ourselves using foreign keys manually in a very sort of imperative way, sort of imperative, because we want to work at a level of abstraction. So that, if we start messing around with foreign keys and specifying those directly, it becomes very brittle, and also, it sort of becomes a little bit more tied to a relational database backend rather than, a general persistence layer. So it's a good thing. I think we're all agreed it's a good thing we use managed associations. However, in that documentation, which we saw last week, CAP and CDS specifically in CAP doesn't support many-to-many. It supports one-to-many, which we've seen between books and authors in the previous example. But, oh, make the topics. Oh, interesting. I never thought of the topic names being localized. Interesting. I thought them as being more tokens. Oh, very interesting. So that's, a philosophical interesting rather than a technical interesting. But yes. Anyway, yes, that's another conversation. Hello, Ronnie. Good morning, and congratulations on the announcement of the SAP InsightTrack Online, which we talked about earlier today. Fantastic. So it doesn't support many-to-many. It supports one-to-many, but many-to-many. What you have to do is build one of these sort of conjunction tables. Now, there's a couple of blog posts on answers.isap.com. A couple of questions and answers on answers.isap.com that talk about this, but I think we'll just build it ourselves. It's quite straightforward. And mentally, the way I can understand this the best is if I put the conjunction table in between, or this conjunction entity, in between the two entities I want to join together, as it were, in the actual CDS file, in the schema. So I'll say entity, and the convention, I think, or the de facto, the convention is you just squish together the two entity names, and that's what this conjunction entity is. So episodes, topics. So there's our sort of structure, and the episodes topics has two keys. Basically, that's all it is. It's just like a pointer, a double pointer. So key. What do we want to do? We want to point to the episodes first of all. Key episode, and that's an association to episodes. By the way, you can see that I've only got partial Vim CDS LSP support because I've broken it. But anyway, I'll be back soon. And we also want, of course, another key topic. Oops. So topics. Okay. So we've got this sort of conjunction table, which will allow us to associate on a pair by pair basis an episode with a topic. So episode 0 is, I'm looking down here for, on the other screen. Episode 4 has got topic Node.js. Episode 4 has got REPL. Episode 4 has got topic debugging. Episode 4 has got, so we'll have multiple records in that episode's topic entity. But on the other hand, the topics property of the episodes entity becomes an association and thereby becomes an OData and navigation property. So we want to say there association to, but in this case it's a one-to-many association. Okay, so you got a one-to-one association going upwards from the conjunction table, and we got a one-to-many going that way. So associated to many episodes topics on, and this is, I don't know about you, but I always have to sort of think a little bit about this. It's on, I'm use my mouse here, on that thing relating to that thing. Okay, so on topics dot episode equals self. Okay, which makes sense, right? Because it's basically that episode here has to be this episode here. And in the same way, we'll say episodes too many episodes topics on episodes dot topic equals self. Okay, so that theoretically is the many-to-many relationship that we've built using this so-called conjunction table. There's a reference to this sort of thing in the standard CAP documentation. And like I say, there's also a post or one or two posts, questions and answer posts on the HandsOnSAPDev thing as well. So have a look at that. Now, what does that mean? That also means, of course, that we've got to change this. Let's go back out of here. Let's go into the service, and we've got to expose those things as well. So topics, and also let's put that in the middle as well. Episodes, topics. Oops. There. Okay. So we're now exposing all three things. Now, if we don't expose all three, weird things happen. Maybe actually we'll leave that out for now. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's obvious when you think about it what happens, but it's quite, I quite like sort of stumbling over things and thinking, oh, of course, yeah, it's not something I've thought about before, but yeah, duh, obvious. So that's that. But what we need to do now is go into our, into our CSV folder, and we need basically to, I'm not going to do this, what time is it, 8:43. We need basically to split this stuff out. So let's create this new episodes file here, and let's go into it and say, we'll just have 3 for now. Let's get rid of those. And the episodes, where you have basically an entity that has an association, but it's a one-to-many association, you don't need that stuff. Okay, so literally it's just that's all we need. Okay, so let's go to there, and also go to there. That's all we need for our episodes, right? Because all we've got is a title, and the navigation property, of course, we don't put in here. We put the reference to that stuff in the table that is the receiving end of the many, if that makes sense. Am I making sense? So that's that. Let's also write to QMacro topics CSV. Oh, I've not saved that one, have I? Save that one. Go down to topics, ID and topic name. Oh no, it's just topic name, isn't it? Topic Node.js. I don't know, debugging, doesn't really matter, does it? Debugging, cap, CDS, that'll do for now, won't it, right? I'm just making this up. And finally, we'll have a QMacro episodes topics.csv where we join these things together. So what's our thing we want? Let's bring that in 1 second. Let's just have a quick look here into here. DB, we've got schema. Oh, of course, episode and topic, right? Yeah, okay, let's go here, zoom that in. Episode topic. Episode 0 has got a topic of, Node.js. Episode 0, let's go up here a minute. What's that for the other topics? Episode 0 has got a topic of cap, and episode 0 has got a topic of CDS, and episode 1 has got debugging, and it's also got Node.js, and then 2 it's just got bananas. Okay, I think that's what we want to do, right? Am I doing this right? Oh, Christian, in general, would it not be better to have a managed key in the end-to-end mapping entities using the 2 foreign keys? Yes, possibly. Yeah, this is not this is not the end of the road on this discovery thing. I also want to sort of explore the use of, a property that has enums, right? Philosophically, theoretically, these topics are potential values of an enumeration. Okay, and I've been looking into OData as well, OData 4 and 401 actually. Oh, so little time because that's got some really cool support for enumeration-based queries with the has query operator. So after that, another time. So yeah, I think it might be worth exploring that on another thing as well. If that's something we want to explore, as in if you're okay exploring this in more detail, which I hope you are generally, then let's do that, because I think this is super interesting. I mean, we don't get very far with anything we build, but I think at least from my perspective, I like to go a little bit deep and understand things properly and explore different ideas rather than like build a massive thing. I hope that's okay with you as well. If not, tell me, of course. So there we go. That's that. Let's just write all that. And I think, yeah, let's go out of there and that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Where are we? Cool. Okay, so let's see. CDS deploy. Let's get rid of everything. Make sure everything is clean. Deploy to SQLite data.db. Episode. No episode. Tell me there's no column name. Episode. What? PID. What's it called? Schema. Episode topics. No column named episode. Yes, it has. What am I doing wrong here? Name and episodes, topics, episodes, topics. I think that's right. What was the error? So episodes, fine. QMacro topics, SQL table, QMacro episodes, topics has no column named episode. CDS compile to SQL DB. Of course. Episodes. It's the episode underscore ID. These are the sort of generated foreign keys for us, okay, which we have to sort of have a look at. We have to sort of delve beneath the abstract covers if we want to supply the CSV data and supply it with the actual working field names. So there, we always get these questions about, well, we have this question in our cap Node.js code jam, don't we, Max? If you're still there, Max. about, why would you ever use the compile command of CDS? There's a perfect example. It's like, what are we generating here? So that was completely unscripted as well. Not that anything is scripted anyway, as you can probably tell, because it's completely random. So it's episode ID and topic name. So if we now, episode topics, go into there, episode ID and topic name. There we go. And now let's see what happens. Right, okay, that's good. So now, start. Let's see what we get. Let's bring that back up here. Let's go to the start. Let's go right to the start. We've got episodes, and we've got topics. Now, this reminds me, we've deliberately left out the exposure of the episode's topics. Let's go in here. Yeah, let's go into here. We've deliberately left out the exposure of the episode's topics entity in the service. What that means from an OData perspective is that we get a really simple, too simple metadata or entity data model, right? I'm going to call it with entity. I'm becoming more aware now. Yes, Gregor, you use the SQLite plugin of VS Code to look up this name. Yes, exactly. I mean, VS Code is fantastic. I sort of, I do like VS Code a lot, but I also like, the stuff that I use. So I use that. But I would also encourage you to look at VS Code, but also, embrace the terminal, embrace the command line, it's a feature, etc. Right? All that. But the interesting thing about this, right, to get back to this, is that we get, let's just close this container for a second, we get two entities. We get the episodes entity and we get the topics entity, which of course is, understandable. But all we get in there are the ID and the title. And we get the name, and that's it. So we get everything. Sorry, the only thing we get are the things that are not navigation properties, because there's nowhere to navigate to, which is pretty, it's pretty cool that it does that for us and doesn't collapse in a heap. But logically, that's the only thing that can be served from an entity data model perspective, because the episode's topics entity is not exposed, and that's the target of the two navigation properties, one in each of these entities. And if the target's not there, then the navigation properties don't make any sense. So that's what I wanted to show you. So now what we'll do is we'll add that back in. And let's go here again. And actually, I should do this, shouldn't I? CDS watch. There we go. And now if we refresh, we get a much larger, much more voluminous entity data model, which is cool because, let's get rid of this entity container again, we get the episode's entity type with the ID and the title, and now we get the navigation property because it can successfully define a navigation to somewhere, which is, of course, a collection of episodes topics things. So that's there. Okay, so that's cool. That's interesting, I think. So now if we refresh, of course, we get the episode's topics. Did I not deploy? Of course. Of course, what I forgot to do in my excitement is not deploy again, because of course we need to do the deploy to cause the episode's topics conjunction table to be defined. So let's do that again. That'll do. Doesn't really matter if we delete it again. Now, where are we? There we go. Now, let's go back. We've still got that episode's topics. There we go. So we've now, of course, we're just looking manually at the relationship. What does that give us? That also gives us, of course, the episodes. But that's really simple, right? There's no relationship specified, or there's no topic specified here. But the cool thing is that we can now follow the navigation property to say expand. Let's just go back to the metadata just to understand what we're about to do, right? We can say, show me the episodes and expand the topics navigation property. Actually, let's leave that there and bring up another tab. Look at the episodes and now say $expand equals topics, which is fine. Okay, we sort of understand that. If we can go the other way as well, right? So we can say topics, and we can now say expand equals episodes, which is nice, right? So what are the episodes that exist in that have been tagged with Node.js? Well, the problem now is that we get that expand, but the expand is from the topics entity to the related entity episodes topics, which has just got two properties, episode and name. So the episode ID and the topic name. So with OData version 4, we can do something like this. Expand equals episode. So we can expand the expand. So now we can say, okay, for Node.js, well, let's just pick out Node.js for now. No, topics Node.js, because that's the key, right? JS. So what are the episodes that talk about Node.js? What are the episodes that have been tagged with the topic Node.js? And there they are. We're going through this conjunction table to the final table, which is, of course, the episodes. So topics through episodes, topics to topics. And in terms of sort of normalization, I think, our data is more normalized in the persistence layer. In terms of usability, I think from a human perspective, whether we do expand or whether we do filter contains, from a human perspective, either is good for me. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I just wanted to sort of get our feet wet starting to look at OData version 4 features, because there's all sorts of wonderful things you can do. And it's 8:57. I can't believe where is the time gone, right? But I wanted to leave on one thing that I saw on LinkedIn. Ralph Handel works for SAP, but is also the chair of the Oasis committee on OData. Last week, he said, OData version 4.01 is now a candidate Oasis standard. I sort of started digging into, well, what does that mean? And I don't know about you, but I've always been slightly sort of, head spun when I start looking at the actual OData documentation. So what I did, and I can share this as well, is I started to sort of analyze all these documents and the relationships between the documents to sort of understand what was going on. I can share this a little bit more on the next episode or further. But basically, I'm sort of finally getting to understand how this all works. And with version 4, there are multiple the Oasis standard for OData is in multiple parts. There's part 1, which is the protocol, part 2, which is URL conventions, part 3 is the CSDN, CSDL, sorry, the common schema definition language, which is basically the language you use to write the metadata. So it's 3 main parts. There are other things as well, the Atom format, the JSON format, and so on. There's all sorts of documents, and these, some are normalized, normative, and some are non-normative. However, if we have a look at, for example, this one here, OData V4 Part 1 protocol, that links to, and this is the way that, in the IETF and the W3C and other standards committees, it's a beautiful way of doing it. you'll see that the latest document points to the latest actual physical document, which is the OS, as you can see here, the OS, the Oasis standard with some errata version 3, right? Originally, the Oasis standard for version 4 was published all the way back in 2014. Okay, so OData V4 has been around, well, actually since, the CSPRD, the Committee Specification Public Review Draft, version 1, was put out on the 26th of April 2013. And you can see all this stuff here through these links, and this latest stage here points to this one, and the previous one is this one, and so on. So there's a lot of stuff to sort of get through. And I think once you start sort of staring at that and embracing that a little bit, there's all sorts of wonderful stuff to learn about, which is where I learned about the expand type thing. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. I'm on holiday, actually, so I'm going to leave it there. Always so much to share, and thank you so much for the chat and the good ideas. I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, and thanks so much for joining as well. Let's think about what we want to do with the Docker container, with the cap thing, and also let me know in the comments and on Twitter as well, please, about where we should look next on OData, because I think now OData is at 4.01. We should start catching up with OData 4, which has been around for like 6 years already, right? I know practically, there's reasons why we also have to stick with OData version 2 with things. But anyway, yes. Okay, I'm going to stop talking and stop going live, end the stream. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Bye.